And we're live. Hello. Okay, so we got the Black Manta Sea Saucer to open today from the Mcfarlane Superpowers line. And I just realized, just as I hit the button to go live, I didn't know where my X-Acto knife was again. So now I'm looking around for that. There we go. Because we know we're going to need that today to open this up. So yeah, this is the Mcfarlane Superpowers Sea Saucer. This was a crowdfunding item. I did not get it through the crowdfunding though, because when the crowdfunding was going on, I could really only afford one set, and I definitely wanted to get the the Bat Multicraft, and I wanted to get the Super Friends colored Batman because I thought he looked really cool. So I could only really afford to get one. So I figured, like, I guess I'm gonna miss out on that Sea Saucer. But they did wind up getting some up for sale on Big Bad Toy Store. So I was able to get one. Cut the little piece of tape there while we're at it. And this is, of course, based on the vehicle that Black Manta used on the Super Friends television show. You know, for all the faults that this line has had, I will say that one thing that's really good about it is it's managed to give us a lot of really cool vehicles and a lot of cool vehicles for villains that we did not get in the original Superpowers line. Hell, we didn't even get a figure of Black Manta in the original Superpowers line. Now we've got three figures of Black Manta. They've repainted that guy three times, and a vehicle for Aquaman's greatest nemesis. Yeah, you heard me, Ocean Master. I said Aquaman greatest nemesis is Black Manta. So the crowdfunding for this, you could also, if I'd have gotten the crowdfunding, I would have had the option to also get a couple of action figures with it, which would have been repaints in the style of the Filmation cartoon of Black Manta and Aquaman. But unfortunately, I wasn't too. The Black Manta looked pretty cool, but the Aquaman I wasn't too impressed with because they used the more modern style Aquaman head with the longer hair and the beard. And as much as I like beards, the Filmation version of Aquaman did not have a beard or long hair. If they'd somehow managed to find a way to put a classic style Aquaman head on there, then I probably would have just ate ramen for a month and went ahead and bought that crowdfunding. But c'est la vie. Anyway, so here we got the artwork on the front is basically like what we usually see on these Mcfarlane figures, where it looks like they just kind of took a photograph of it and kind of altered it to look like a drawing. Sean Franklin is here. Hi there, Sean Franklin. Hope you're doing well today. Always good to see you. There's what the top of the box looks like. There's what this side of the box looks like. There's what that side of the box looks like. Pretty much identical on both sides. There's the bottom of the box. Here's the back of the box, which shows us some of the features. Press to open cockpit, two shark torpedoes, seats one figure, and free spinning propellers. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up. We've got a bag of stuff here, so let's set that aside. And then there's a cardboard insert here. Set that aside. And then the main body of the sea saucer. Another cardboard insert. Set that aside. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to take the cardboard stuff and put it back in the box, because that's probably going to go to the recycling later. And then, like I said, main body of the sea saucer. It's in this plastic baggie. Let's get it off of there. And to me, so far, it looks very much like what we saw on the Super Friends cartoon. But of course, it's a much smaller version. I had seen some talk of people. Yep, you press down on this antenna, and that's what pops the canopy open. I had seen some talk from some people complaining that there wasn't like a windshield on there for them to look out, like a window, I guess. Windshield probably isn't the right word since it's underwater. It'd be a water shield, but whatever. But it's supposed to be like a submarine, so oftentimes a submarine doesn't really have like, windows and things like that. It's meant to be deep underwater, but he does have a view screen, and that's probably how he gets around. And you can see, I don't know how well you can see it, but there is actually a picture of Aquaman from the Super Friends cartoon on his little jet ski there. Bobby Wald is here, and he says that looks like the Mario Kart of superhero vehicles. Well, it's a super villain vehicle, but whatever. It's not put together yet. Let's put it together and see that it you know uh maybe it'll look a little more impressive. But yeah, like it's got these are, I think, supposed to be windows on the original version, because of course the sea saucer in the original cartoon was supposed to be a much larger vehicle. This is like a one man. We could say it's like a scout version of the sea saucer, like a little vehicle he takes out on his own. That's what I would imagine it would be anyway. So let's go ahead and open up this baggie with all these parts in it. And there's actually a second baggie that was wrapped up in it, and I almost dropped it in the floor because I didn't know it was there. But this would be the tail of the sea saucer. So let's go ahead and pop that on. There we go. All right. And of course, since it's supposed to be a manta, that means we've got to have like the wings for it. And those are in this baggie. So take both of those out. And I don't see those shark torpedoes it was talking about. So I wonder if maybe that's stuck to any of this cardboard here. Nope, nope, not seeing it. This is something that fell. That's from the other sea sauce. I don't think they sent me my shark torpedoes. I don't see those in here. I don't think I got those. Nope. Well, they're actually attached into the vehicle already. So how do we drop those down? This seems to press in. So I think what you do is you press in the exhaust on the back here, little, and that drops your shark torpedoes, which you can't really control too well how they drop. So that's why I tried to drop it over my desk, so everything would fall on my desk, even as cluttered as my desk is. That way I know where they go. But of course, one of them bounced off my desk and landed on my couch, but thankfully not too far away. If I can get these back in, I think there's little plastic tabs that clip it on the sides there. You see where those little down here, see where the little plastic tabs are? All right, so that's how all those features work. And then the free spinning propellers. That's that. So go ahead and click the wings into the sides of the sea saucer. And there we go. That's what all put together, looking very much like how it looked on the Super Friends cartoon. Bobby Wald says the only thing more dangerous than a shark torpedo is a sharknado. Yeah, well, they hadn't invented that yet on Super Friends, but I'm pretty sure Black Manta would have used one if he had have had access to it. But yeah, if you saw the old Super Friends cartoon, this is pretty much what it looked like, except for, like I said, it was much larger in scale at that time than it was than it is here. But they can only make these vehicles so big, So especially for somebody like Black Manta, like they were probably figuring like I don't know if they were ever intending on releasing this at regular retail, but for one of the villains, especially a villain for Aquaman, I kind of figure that they wanted to take up as little shelf space as possible, which is why it's so small. But like I said, we never got any vehicles for Black Manta in the original Superpowers line. We never even got a figure of Black Manta in the original Superpowers line. So frankly, I'm grateful for what we got. And like I said, I wasn't able to get I wasn't able to do the crowdfunding on that one. I got this one off Big Bad Toy Store because they got some of those in. So I was thankful I was able to get this, but I wasn't able to get the figures. And of course, the Black Manta figure that would have come with this one would have been the Filmation version of Black Manta, whereas really this is the vehicle of the Super Friends version of Black Manta. So really, the figure that should ride in this vehicle is this bad boy. Am I flexing by showing off that I have the blue version of Black Manta? Perhaps. But I do have a blue version of Black Manta, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I was lucky enough to find this guy. And of course, I have an unboxing of him on the channel elsewhere, if you want to see that. Which, if I'd have known how rare a figure this was going to turn out to be, I might have actually kept him on the card and just waited for the black suited Black Manta. But he's out of the package now, so we might as well go ahead and see how well he fits into the sea saucer. So I've got him into a sitting position. Let's go ahead and put him in there, and he actually fits kind of loosely in there. Like there's a little more leg room in there than I would have expected. So let's go ahead. We'll lean him back a little bit, and I think that'll help him stay a little more steady. Put his arms down. Make sure his arms are actually on the armrests. And I think he's supposed to kind of be in sort of a reclining position in here anyway, because that seems like the only way that it would fit with the canopy once we put the canopy down. So once you do have the canopy down, you can't even really tell the figure's in there because, like I said, there's no window, there's no opening to tell the figure's in there. And like I think that's the real reason that people were kind of bummed that there wasn't any kind of windshield on it, because you couldn't actually see the figure in the vehicle. But it's like I said, that's what it looked like on the cartoon. And plus, like I said, on the cartoon, it was a much larger scaled vehicle than what we're seeing here. So it's probably more accurate this way anyway. Bobby Wald says that vehicle looks almost like an inspiration for the depth charge vehicle mode in Beast Wars. I mean, it might have been. Who knows? Like Beast Wars, I think the people making that cartoon, like they probably would have been just young enough that they could have watched Super Friends, because I think they probably would have been guys in their 20s and 30s at that time, right? So some of them might have been young enough to take some inspiration from it. So yeah, anyway, really cool vehicle. I'm glad I was able to get it. Not a whole lot else more to say about it. If I could have done anything different with it, I think some folding wings would have been cool to have, rather than the wings just popping off and on. Maybe have them fold, like, and you see like the way they're shaped. It seems like they would have worked really well for like folding in. But like how the Batwing, the wings on that plane fold in is, I think that would have been cool to see on the Manta ship. But I always want to call it the Manta ship, even though the official name for it is Sea Saucer. But anyway, that's it for the Manta ship, because I don't think I have much else to say about it. A pretty short review for a vehicle, but it's got some good features to it. It was definitely worth picking up. If you're a fan of the character of Black Manta, as I am, it's definitely worth having in your collection. So, but it's not the only vehicle I got. The other one is our other crowdfunding vehicle, and I'll open this on the next episode, I think. Much larger is the Bat Multi-Craft, and then I did get the crowdfunding figures for the Bat Multi-Craft. So here's Robin, and here is Batman. So we'll talk more about those in upcoming episodes. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do the Bat Multi-Craft episode, and then move on to Batman, and then I'm going to open up Robin. And normally with sets like this, I say Batman for last, but in this case, I'm gonna do Robin last, because then I'm gonna go into the next wave of superpowers that I have to open, and one of those figures is Robin. So that way I can have my Robin episodes kind of back to back. It'll be the last episode for this week and the first episode for next week. And I am planning on doing a Sunday episode this week, because I got off to kind of a late start and didn't get a chance to do an episode on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday because I wound up going to visit my mom and I stayed over there a lot longer than I'd expected to. And I was even planning on doing an episode when I got home this morning when I got off of work, but I was way too tired. So I got some sleep and did this episode. And next episode, yeah, we'll go ahead and do the sea saucer. So anyway, that is, we'll do that multi-craft. I just did the sea saucer. Maybe I need to get more sleep. I don't know. But anyway, that's it for the sea saucer. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this vehicle. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.